The first thing that's being done is limited, but it's emergency and it's urgent, is the giving of humanitarian efforts by food and water to those who are in the mountains. But the other is that international partners can join with us. And I understand from the administration, European partners and others are joining, also assisting in that effort. But it is to assist with the Kurdish forces and those internally in Iraq who can help the situation. It has been going on for a long time. It's escalated at this point, but you have to have an immediate strategy and then you have to have a long-term strategy. By the way, last week, just Wednesday, there was a Yazidi population that came down to Washington and met with some of my colleagues, the chair of the Evangelical Church Alliance. It was about a delegation of 100 of them who live here in Lincoln, Nebraska. And as they were on the phone, they were getting reports then of loved ones who were dying because they could not make the journey. They were in the mountains. They had to flee immediately with everything they had. So they had some cell phone service, but that has now eroded. So we're depending really on information that is really limited, but the immediate strategy is to get food to them, and that's the humanitarian effort.
You know, we have to remember it gets to like 120 plus Fahrenheit, and there's no cover for a lot of these people. Now, in post-war Iraq, Christians represent a tiny minority as well. Some estimates show somewhere between 200 and 400,000 Christians still remain in Iraq. That's down from more than 1 million before the war. How worried are you about the efforts to purify the region at all costs, including Christians?
Well, I'm very concerned. Again, that's been an ongoing effort. I was able to meet with the Chaldean and Assyrian community that's here in the United States about 2 years ago, and they were very concerned for their loved ones because, as you said, the numbers have dwindled. At that time, their concerns were not just in terms of being forced to flee, but there also were not social and economic stimuli to keep people in Iraq. And so they were trying to get a lot of their loved ones over here to America, or there are some who are going to northern European countries as well, and that's what's happening with the Yazidi community. Congress was very concerned with the Christian community as well as other religious minorities, and so we were on it quite a bit 2 to 3 years ago. And the numbers have dwindled for many reasons. There's a war going on, and we have to deal with it and confront it.
And what happens over there will definitely have an impact on us here. Ambassador Suzan Johnson Cook, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.